Welcome to the Channel Partner Podcast with James Alexander, a series of interviews with leaders from the IT channel here in Ireland.
I'm joined today by Ken Kelleher, Managing Director of Landmark Technologies. Ken, good to have you.
It's great to be here. Thank you for inviting me in.
Thank you. Now, Ken, let's go back to the start, shall we? Landmark Technologies. How did it all begin?
It's a really good story. Well, I think it's a good story. So I'd been working in, I suppose, IT for a number of years. I'd been working in the likes of Dell, and I contracted into various different places like IBM. And I always had the grow, if you like, to start off my own business and do my own thing. And during my time in Dell, I decided to move to a completely different role outside of IT. Well, still in the IT industry, but into sales, because I felt if I wanted to set up my own business and do my own thing, I need to have sales skills. Up till then, I only ever had technical skills. So I moved to a company called the Trinity Group, and that was a massive baptism of fire in terms of learning how to sell. From there, I moved into another company called Lake Communications, based in Tala. They were talking about 28, 29, 30 years ago now at this stage.
What do they sell?
So Trinity at the time were a DEC or a digital reseller, and would have been a HP as well at some point. And then Lake Communications were a Cisco type of communications infrastructure provider, as well as telephone systems and stuff, which is a different side of the business. So when I was in Lake, Lake were bought or made an acquisition of another similar company. So all of a sudden there was, 2 sales managers and 8 account managers, and it was obvious that there was going to be, changes down the line. So I was pretty much last in the door. So I went to my boss at the time and I said to him, look, I've got a couple of deals on the way in, net new business, you don't know who they are. I'll make your life easy. I'll go off with your permission. I'll take these 1 or 2 and move on from there. So I did that, and I set up Landmark.
Okay.
So for the first year or 2, Landmark was basically in the corner of my daughter's bedroom, fighting with her toys to get a bit of desk space. So that's where Landmark started from.
Man with a van sort of thing?
Man with a van, yeah, absolutely. So that's where it started from. Got 1 customer in, then grew that from there to where we are today. But absolutely very much hands-on, man in a van. Back then it was driving around in a van, full of parts, installing servers and networks and troubleshooting on them, and actually doing tech support while driving around, hands-free of course, and doing tech support for other clients. And then that grew, and I took on an employee, and things moved from there. So that's
27 years later, is it?
So
28?
business was started in 1998, so we're in our 28th year of business now.
I remember when I first met you, you had the big balloons in the office. Was it last December?
That's
27
right.
years.
Yeah. So we have to change 1 digit now to make it 28. It's hard to believe that, you look back and you say 28 years in business, and the amount of changes that not just technology has gone through, but that I've gone through as well, with the business starting off as, me and my van, to having an employee, to having a team of, over 25 people now at this stage, and a few million in revenue and stuff like that. So it's
You're doing
a big
okay.
change. Yeah, doing okay, but it's not me anymore. There's a team, and there's a great team there in Landmark. So.
I bet it's flown by as well.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Sometimes I look at stuff, and the way the IT business, the way technology has worked up to this point, is that there's every 5 to 7 years that there's a curve that we have to jump. So we were originally on-premise servers, and then there was a curve to jump to move servers to the cloud. In the first instance, that was moving Microsoft Exchange from on-prem into the cloud, into Microsoft 365 as we know it now. Then there was another curve jump for business continuity. Then there was another curve jump for cybersecurity, which is pretty much baked into everything that we do now. And with AI, that curve jump, which is normally a 5 or 7 year type of evolution, is really, really shrunk. And it's probably about a 2-year evolution at this stage. And I think we're already probably done with the first 2 years.
Okay.
So the time frame now to get stuff done and to adapt and change the business has just gotten so fast, and sometimes can feel a little bit overwhelming too.
Yeah. Okay. And how would you describe what Landmark do now? If you were to kind of give someone the elevator pitch, what would you say?
Well, I'd probably do a good old sales reversal there and ask you what would you like? Because we do quite a lot, but I think what we do is we de-risk technology for businesses. Okay, so what we do is we take out the risk that technology could bring to your business, and we make it secure, robust, reliable, and in such a way that the business owners don't need to consider, are they secure? Is it reliable? Because we expect IT just to work. Like we switch on the lights, we expect IT just to work now.
Yeah.
So we make sure that happens.
Okay.
Yeah.
But do businesses actually know the risk that they're exposing themselves to at the moment? Like, how do they say, right, we need to call up someone like Landmark Technologies to protect us?
So we work on a thing called an operational maturity level, an OML. So when we're talking to clients, we would look at clients and we'd say, right, they're very mature operationally. So they generally will know where their shortcomings are, or at least they'll have an idea that the shortcomings.
Would they have like an existing IT team themselves or not?
They can do. So we would work with companies that would have an existing IT team and they're looking to augment that in some way and bring in expertise, because not one person in IT knows all the answers, okay, because it's so vast. So the more mature organizations typically either know they have a gap or know that they need to check at least if there's gaps in what they need to do with them, or they're in a regulated industry. So they then have the likes of DORA or NIS2 or ISO or something like that they need to adhere to.
So they're the ones that are quite literate then from a cyber perspective.
Absolutely, yeah. And then there's everybody else who, a lot of business owners, then something might happen. They might get spooked, they might hear a story, or they know somebody in business who got affected by, let's say, they lost money by paying an invoice that had an IBAN number changed on it and that sort of stuff. So business email compromise, stuff like that. So then they would normally reach out and we'd have a consultation with them and see where the gaps might be and help them work through that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what if they have an existing provider?
So we can work with existing providers. So we're not necessarily there to replace the incumbent IT provider.
Okay.
Generally, what we find is that a lot of existing IT providers are doing a great job at the day-to-day BAU stuff, the IT support, the fixing the printer, the tickets, that kind of stuff. They may not be strategically aligned, though, to the business, where they're looking at the business in terms of cybersecurity, compliance, and maybe even the development, the growth of AI and how to implement AI. So while they're doing a great job in the day-to-day stuff, they don't necessarily have the bandwidth or the skill set to deliver the future stuff that's coming down. And to protect the business as well at the same time.
Okay. Because when you talk about the different stages of MSPs, like obviously when you had cloud, that was like, well, you've got a lot to gain by going in the cloud. You can move quicker. Cyber was probably, right, protect yourselves. There's a threat here.
Correct.
AI, there seems to be a bit of both. It's like there's a threat, obviously, but there's also the gain, and you have to sort of balance that. How do you manage that conversation with your customers?
Yeah, so you're right, absolutely. So we recently did a survey, and some of the results that came out of that were pretty startling in terms of what staff are doing.
Who are you surveying?
So we surveyed 1,000 employees around the country. Consensus-wide did the survey for us.
Okay.
And
technology employees.
All shapes and all sizes.
Okay.
Yeah. So not just tech businesses, but any and all types of businesses.
Okay.
So a big mixed bag of companies and types of employees. And what we're finding is that employees are installing AI tools themselves.
Yeah.
So even the business owner may not know these AI tools are in their organization. So the challenge there is obviously if your systems and particular data is not ready for AI, there's a massive security risk there that data could be leaked out onto the internet. And again, our survey said that people were actually putting in confidential information into the likes of ChatGPT to get information back on it. And that's pushing all that out onto the internet. So there is a security risk, like a cybersecurity risk. There's also a risk that your staff might get ahead of you in terms of cyber. So then if they feel you're not moving forward as a business with AI, they may then look at companies who are more open to AI and who are more forward-thinking, forward-moving to use AI tools within the organization.
Yeah. Okay. So is that a big part of what you consult into now? Is
Absolutely.
Actually, okay.
Yeah. And we're still trying to figure it out. Like, I'll be straight up with you, we're still trying to figure it out.
How do you figure it out? Like, how do you stay on top of it?
Yeah, education.
But how do you have the time to keep educating yourself?
Well,
is there any hacks?
Listen to a podcast on 1.2 speed. Yeah, that's always a good hack. So I listen to a lot of podcasts. So I would at night, put the earphones in, and I'd probably fall asleep listening to a few of them. Also, we network quite a lot, so we work with our colleagues and our peers in the industry. And
Other MSPs?
Other MSPs,
Okay.
yeah. So we're heavily involved in international
Talk to me
peer
about
groups.
that a bit.
Yeah, so there's a couple of peer groups that we're involved in. One in particular is the Evolve peer group, which is run by ConnectWise, which is a large software vendor in our space. And I've been involved in that for about 8-9 years now at this stage.
Okay.
So what that is basically, it's they have a number of different peer groups within it. So they have an owners peer group, that's the one I'm involved in. And once a quarter we meet up. There's 10 other business owners in the room with me. And there's like 5 or 6 of those rooms going on. And we all share our problems, our challenges. We even get in under the bonnet and we share our numbers. So we even share our P&L, our EBITDA, all those types of numbers. And
Wow. What's the benefit of that?
well, the benefit of that is that those 9 other business owners and business leaders around the table at some point have had the problem that you're currently experiencing.
Okay.
So you'll get their feedback, their input on how to maybe solve that problem and what they've done and what they've experienced. So there's a massive amount of benefit in that. So a consultant will never be able to solve that for you because they're not in it at the level that these other owners are in.
Of course.
Plus, it helps us benchmark. So it helps us to know what good looks like and what best in class looks like. So when we're measuring our various numbers, so there's lots of numbers we measure, but so there's 10 or 13 key numbers that we measure, and I particularly look at around EBITDA, but also leveraging, making sure that we've got enough staff in certain areas. So we'll know if we're too light in certain departments or too heavy in certain departments in terms of what best in class looks like. And we then know what the margins of a best in class MSP would look like for various different turnover levels and stuff like that. So it's very insightful. Very
so
insightful.
you say you've been with them for 10 years?
About 9 years actually at this stage, yeah. Okay. Yeah, joined late 2018, I think it was, yeah.
Okay, because I mean, it's not an industry that people would typically associate with having that level of collaboration.
It's been going for a long time. It was set up in the US, it used to be called the HTG groups back in the day, and it was set up by one chap who wanted to reach out to other IT companies in his area and get support because he felt it was very lonely. I think there's great community in the IT industry. And I know when I speak to other Irish MSP owners and explain to them what happens, they can't necessarily believe that I'm sitting down across the table from other MSP owners who could potentially be my competitors and sharing all this information with them. And in fact, over the years, I've had other Irish MSP owners in the room as part of our group.
So you're direct competitors?
Direct competitors sitting across the table, and we're sharing problems and solving problems together. So there's a code of conduct that you sign up to, obviously, and there's professionalism, etc. But I've only ever gained from it.
Yeah.
So,
well, I suppose you get what you give. One of those. So what do you give to get what you get back?
Do you know, I think the balance sheet on that is the wrong way around. I get far too much out of it than what I give. What I give in, so I hope they don't come after me one day to balance that. Like we get a lot of support. So, for instance, each week I've got an accountability partner from the group, and each quarter we set goals for the business, and then each week myself and my accountability partner would meet on a Teams call and see how each other is getting on with our relevant goals. We also have monthly check-ins with the wider group, so we can all discuss how we're getting on, any issues, any concerns. So it's like a men's shed for IT owners to a degree. And now there's lots of ladies involved as well, so it's not only for the guys. Lots of female owners involved as well, which is great. So we get a lot of support. So you get a lot of shoulder to lean on, and an ear to listen to as well.
Which is very important.
Very important, because it can be very lonely running a business and leading a business.
Yeah, because I know you're big into EOS as well. Is that from this group that you've kind of gotten familiar with the whole EOS concept? Yeah,
I would say so, yeah. So EOS, which is the entrepreneurial operating system, I probably would have learned
based
a lot.
Based on a book, isn't it?
Yeah, it was based on Traction.
Traction,
one of the books, And so we've been probably implementing that slowly for the last number of years within the business. And we have a facilitator who facilitates our weekly management meetings. And Claire, shout out to Claire, she's fantastic. She keeps us on the straight and narrow when it comes to running the meeting on time, keeping the agenda, making sure we're focusing on the right things. And then we also have a quarterly away day that we do with the management team. We bring in Mark. Mark is also from the Evolve Group. I know Mark. He's managing director of EPX in the UK. And Mark comes over to us each quarter, and we do a one-day strategy day off-site with the management team where we go through all the challenges of the business. And the good, we celebrate wins as well. It's important to do that. And then we map out what we need to do as a senior management team for the next quarter. And then each year, then we'd have a 2-day offsite then for the annual thing. So this year, one of the things that we did at our annual was we revisited our values as a business because we hadn't looked at them in a while.
How long's a while?
Probably a long time. I would say I probably copy and paste them from another company, if I'm honest. And we put a lot of effort into pulling together our 5 key values. And
Do you want to talk about them?
We can, and we now interview against those values, and we make sure that people come into the business are culturally a fit for the business, and we're a fit for them too, which is just as important,
Yeah.
So pretty happy with the values that are there.
What are they?
We might tweak them slightly, but we're there.
Well, I won't make you talk about them then yet.
Yeah, no.
Okay, very good. Now, I suppose when you're talking about that, I'm thinking of the customers that you service. You probably have a lot of other Kens as customers. So what I mean by that is business owners.
I would never take a Ken on as a customer.
20, 30 people businesses.
Yeah.
Like, does EOS influence what you see in terms of gaps within their business that you're able to consult on, as well as the sort of whole MSP offering that you have?
I think it does. Absolutely. It certainly brings value to that. And I think, moreover, again, Evolve, what we do in Evolve would bring a lot of that. I spoke there earlier on about operational maturity level. Well, I learned that from Evolve because we ourselves talk about our own operational maturity level. So when we go to look and talk to potential clients, we're also looking at their operational maturity level too. So and we're looking at their how serious are they about technology? Do they see it as just a cost and want to run down to Harvey Norman's and buy laptops? Or do they want to have a strategic, do they see technology as a strategic enabler in their business? That's the type of company we want to work with.
Okay, and what do you listen out for to understand whether it's a strategic enabler? Because ultimately with small businesses, cost is the biggest driver. Yeah.
Well, absolutely. And I think that there's the cost of, doing it right will always cost you more than, possibly if you do it wrong. What's the expression, buy cheap, pay twice? I think there is that as well. So I think doing it right, while there is a cost involved, and I think long term, it's the right investment for a business. What we look out for is, I suppose, we want to engage with companies that want to move the needle in their own businesses. So we're looking for companies that want to grow, that have a plan, that they may not want to take over the world, but they certainly want to improve what they're doing, and they want to improve year on year. And that's what we're looking for, and we want to help them in that journey.
Okay. Yeah. And with those types of businesses, what's the biggest threat to them right now that they probably don't see yet?
Well, I think they're aware of it, but they probably don't maybe fully understand it, and that's AI. And AI, I always use AI as an umbrella term for lots of different things. So AI is what we know as Copilot, Claude, ChatGPT, and all those kind of chat applications that are out there, and they're everywhere now. Okay, it's overwhelming what the amount of different versions there are of those. Okay, but I think what's going to happen next is when we move into the more agentic side of AI, let's call it that. And then we've also RPA, which is robotic process automation. Now that's been around for a while, and AI has been around for a while as well. Yeah. It's been nicely packaged, and things are more accessible now to the. I think the Americans would say it's been democratized. Maybe is that the term they would use? So we're able to buy a tool now for $30 a month and do phenomenal things with it, not just write fancy emails. But where the agentic stuff will come in is, it'll answer your phones, it will redirect people, it will prospect for you, it will do your marketing. It will listen to your own salespeople on the call and prompt them to remind them to offer the customer the special offer of the month, or whatever it might be. Yeah. It will give the sales manager feedback as to Ken's performance on the call and all that kind of stuff. So it's going to give massive amount of data, massive amount of insights into businesses. Yeah. So I think that's both an opportunity and a threat.
Okay. Yeah. And then when we talk about your business specifically, how do you evolve to meet that need? Like, is your current model fit for purpose for that? Do you need to look at different types of skills that you're bringing in yourself?
Well, I'm going to just barefaced lie and say, yes, of course. No, it's not. We're like any other business. So I mentioned the curve jumps there earlier on from cloud and cyber, and they're typically 5 to 7 years. The challenge we have, and I think the challenge every business has now, is that lead-in time, or that curve jump to adopt new technologies, has gone from 5 or 7 years down to about 2 years. And I actually feel those 2 years are already in the rearview mirror.
Okay. So we're on another curve.
I think we're on phase 2 of AI already, and it's ramping up so fast. So for us, what we're doing is we a year ago, well, more than a year ago, but a year ago, we partnered with Roost. That's an RPA platform, and we've been working very hard on our own internal automation. So a lot of stuff that we would have repetitive tasks that we would have had somebody do, a lot of them are being automated.
Can you give me an example?
So basic stuff into our help desk, like password resets or set up a new user, or, Ken's leaving on Friday, can you make sure he's shut off at 5:30 on Friday?
Yeah.
So a lot of that stuff would have been done manually by a service engineer, by a ticket, through tickets. That's hugely automated now. So a lot of what we call the level 1, level 2 tasks, so the basic stuff that people would normally contact an IT help desk for can be automated. And then what we're doing is with those resources that we had doing those tasks, we're skilling them up and moving them up the tier into what we call level 3, or they're having opportunities to move into other roles within the business. So we're seeing that's massively changing. And we can do this RPA stuff for our clients as well. So I've spoken a lot of conversations with clients where they have manual processes, whether that's taking POs in the door and they're typing them into their system, or an order form comes in off the web, but then it stops and then they have to manually enter it into their sales system. The RPA can automate all that. Okay. So if you can document it, you can RPA it typically.
But then, if the process isn't fit for purpose, do you then go in and do process re-engineering with your customers as well?
Absolutely. So we'd work closely with our customers in that. So the customer will know the process a lot better than we will. But that's another challenge we have as well, because our business is now changing from being an IT support, cybersecurity, cloud infrastructure type company to being an AI first company, if that makes sense. With cybersecurity wrapped around everything we do, because it's really, really important. And what we are looking to do now is actually move into DevOps. So that's an area that we've never been in before, really, as a company. So that's new territory for us. And scripting and Power BI and all that kind of stuff.
Okay. So what does that look like in your world? Because I know obviously DevOps from a software engineering perspective and keeping systems up and running constantly and automating stuff. But what is it in your world for your customers? Like, do you build these people out to your customers?
Well, what we would do is it's probably on outcomes. So we look at projects and we would say, so you want to have X, Y, and Z delivered, you want to have this automated, and this is the process that you use currently. We'll go off, we'll develop that, and then deliver them the finished article, and they can implement from there. Okay. So that's what it looks like for us. And then we'll provide the managed services around that to make sure that the automations are kept running, and if they do need any updates on it or any iterations of it, we're available to do that as well. Okay. So we're not looking to sell dev hours out to people. We'll sell and supply and work with a customer to provide the finished product to them, the finished service to them.
Okay. Outcomes, that's a buzzword at the moment in terms of outcome-based pricing versus seat-based pricing.
Yes.
How does that affect your world?
Yeah, we've had to, so back in the day, if I was talking to you about taking on your business as an IT support company, I'd walk around your office, I'd count how many computers you had. You had 10 white boxes back in the day. You had a server, you had a printer, you had a firewall, this, that. And I'd have my little calculator and I would come out and say, here's our price to do IT support. And we would then produce a report every month about the number of tickets that we did and all that kind of stuff. So all the response, all the reactive type work. Okay. So over the years, that shifted away. We've seen tickets basically fall off the cliff in terms of volume. Ticketmageddon.
So is that pricing comes down then technically if tickets drop?
Bunch of horses. So first and foremost, I can't say that I coined Ticketmageddon. I probably heard it somewhere. So
that's going to be a soundbite now.
So shout out to whoever came up with Ticketmageddon. So what we're seeing is what we used to base our pricing on basically be removed. Okay, so what we're replacing it with, as he said, is the the outcome of services. Okay, and that's the shift we're going through at the moment. So what we're doing is we're adding back in a ton of value for our clients. So we've already added in AI, let's call it AI, RPA, into our clients. So we've given them new ways to integrate with us and work with us through automation and through AI. So rather than having to call us or email us and do all that ticket ping pong, they can go into an AI portal now and they can choose the service that they want, and then that service gets done automatically for them. So if that's changing a password, setting up a new user, closing down a user, setting up a SharePoint site, whatever it might be, we build that out for our clients, and then they have access to that 24/7 by 365. Okay. So it's on their terms that they can integrate with us. So they're not having to, make sure that they call us or email us between, we work 8 till 8, Monday to Friday. It's 24/7 now.
So you've built your own portal that allow your clients to self-serve what they want. So
Absolutely.
if I have someone starting on Monday, for
Yeah.
example, I can just go on and do that right away.
Absolutely, and you can hit
Okay.
order a laptop, what spec do you
It's
want.
like an e-commerce site.
Absolutely, and this is the agentic
But
stuff.
just for your clients.
Just for our clients. That's private
Okay.
to our clients. Now, we can build that to, for an IT department, and that's what we're talking to a lot of IT departments about,
Yeah.
is putting that in for their internal IT, because they would have a huge amount of these level 1 tickets coming in. It's very small stuff. It's very easy stuff usually to resolve.
Yeah.
But it's requiring somebody to do it. So if you can free that person up and they can spend more time, let's say, walking around the factory or walking around the office doing desk side support or helping people or training people on Excel or whatever it might be, or doing higher end tickets. So level 3 stuff, the more interesting, the more challenging type of issues are getting involved in projects. Well, that's much better. That's better for them because it's career development, and it's better for the organization as well because they're getting all these noisy tickets, if you like, sorted at a very, 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 very quickly.
Yeah.
24/7, and they're not having to rely on a person to do it, and that person is off doing more valuable work elsewhere.
Okay. Yeah. Very cool. So is that all done on Roost?
That is largely done on Roost, but we do have other applications that we work with as well. But Roost is our chosen partner for delivering all that.
How did you decide on them?
I suppose we went through a vetting process. Again, being part of Evolve, one of the great things that happens there is that when we're stuck in the meeting rooms, we spend 2 days. It's almost like conclave. We spend 2 days locked in a meeting room, and we when we have lunch, it's in the meeting room as well. Okay. We don't stop. It's a working lunch, and during those working lunches, various different vendors come in and they can pitch. So they obviously
at a discount.
There's always a discount. Yeah. Absolutely, because they're pitching to hundreds of business owners. Mm-hmm. So they can. And MSPs are a little bit like sheep as well. If you have it, I'll probably get it, and he'll probably get it, and then she'll get it. But we all kind of follow each other to a degree because we are a little bit like sheep. But these vendors come in and they educate and pitch, and they tell us what they're doing. So we met Roost a number of times, and we're very happy with it as a solution. It works. There's tons of other products out there, obviously, but for a secure business solution, this ticks all the right boxes. Okay. I've also had the pleasure of being invited over to Amsterdam last year to the PAX 8 annual conference in Amsterdam and speak on behalf of Roost. Okay. And this year, obviously, didn't do too bad a job for them. They've invited me to Roost Flow 26 in Nashville to do a session with them there as well. And that. So I'm very excited for that. Yeah, very excited for that. Yeah.
And with other vendors, like it seems like there's a new cyber vendor popping up every day. And obviously the bigger players want to have this full consolidated platform. Like, does it get a bit sort of exhausting trying to keep up? And do your customers dictate to you what vendors they want, or is that purely your decision?
Well, I think the larger the customer, they'll want a certain, they'll be aligned already with a certain vendor. Okay. So there'll be Microsoft, so Copilots to fit there. There'll be a Google or an AWS partner. So other applications would fit there. We're pretty much a Microsoft house ourselves. So we generally just work within those areas. For other customers, we are consulting with them, I suppose, and we're making recommendations of what's best fit there for them and what's best for their outcomes and for their budget as well. So it depends. It really depends, yeah.
And from a security vendor perspective?
Yeah, it's a really interesting one. I think there's a lot of information being pumped into chats and stuff at the moment that probably shouldn't be. And even the likes of Claude, I'm seeing people doing phenomenal stuff with Claude. And I'd be just concerned that where that data's ending up, because it's not being processed in the EU, it's being processed over in the States. Mm-hmm. So straight off there's GDPR issues and all that kind of stuff there. So very careful what you put in and where you put it. Yeah. I think Microsoft, they've done a lot of work with having their enterprise grade protections on the Copilot, but they also have Claude coming into Copilot shortly as well. And again, the disclaimer there is that they're a sub-processor, and they will be processing that over in the States. So again,
does Copilot just use OpenAI at the moment? Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's one or two other ones in the background as well.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So as you go into your 4th decade then in business, where do you see it going? Like, what's the business model you see yourself if we're in this new kind of growth curve that you're talking about?
You just made me feel very old. 4th decade.
I was going to say 3rd, but actually it's the 4th.
It is actually the 4th. Yeah. So I think for me, it's personally, it's about trying to grow and develop as a leader and get out of everybody's way. That's always been I wouldn't
Very
say
self-aware.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's always been my challenge, but it's certainly a challenge to get out of people's way and don't be the bottleneck in the business. I've got great guys and girls working in the business and let them get on with it. I think for me, also the speaking, I really enjoy that. I must be okay at it because I get the odd invite. And I think AI is, for me, is really, really interesting. I think AI there is a bit of a bubble at the moment, absolutely. And when that bubble bursts, and the music stops there, we'll probably be left with 4 or 5 key players as usual.
Yeah.
And then that will all settle in as technology does. And then in 5 years' time, we'll be working with, Claude, Microsoft, the usual names will all be there.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. Cybersecurity remains a serious aspect to everything as well, particularly what's going on in the world now. We've seen American companies getting hacked by Iran and whatnot. So the challenge for Irish businesses and particularly SMEs is that not that they are being targeted themselves, but they get caught up in the net. And because these cyber criminals, they're well funded, they've very plush offices, they've HR departments, they've bonus schemes. They're probably sometimes better organized and better run than some businesses are.
Yeah.
And you just get caught up in one of their scams and you get done for 20, 30 grand.
Yeah.
And we see it all the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about outside of Ireland? Have you plans kind of to do business in different parts of the world?
Look, we've looked at the UK a few times, and I think there's enough business in Ireland where we're at now. That's not to say there's another generation of leaders coming up in Landmark that don't make a decision or do make a decision to go somewhere else. And we have clients who are international. So we have clients that have offices all around the world. So that gives us a flavour and a taste of that. But I think, look, we know the Irish market pretty well. We're not experts in it. We're learning every day. But I think we have looked at buying other MSPs in the UK and a little bit further afield. We just felt we're better off putting that effort into just growing the business we have here in Ireland.
Yeah. Okay. Is the UK as crowded as Ireland from an MSP perspective?
I think so, yeah. I know a lot of the guys, so the peer group that I'm involved in is predominantly UK-centric. Mm-hmm. So I would obviously hear about their battle stories and what's going on. There is a lot of consolidation in the market, though. In Ireland, in the UK, there's a lot of private...
There's been a lot of M&A recently.
There's a lot of private equity come in. And that's really good for companies like Landmark because through those M&A and PE acquisitions, there's a tendency for there to be a fallout of customers, and they're ideal customers for us as well. So some of those larger companies don't want to deal with the 20, 30 user type businesses. They want the 40, 50, 100, 500 larger businesses because they've got to hit a number, right? Whereas those companies then are a better fit for us. Yeah. And we are for them.
Yeah, speaking to someone, I think I might have told you this, who was part of a smaller business that was acquired, and his job was basically to go to all their customers saying, this is our pricing for a new model based on the bigger company, suggesting it, and it's take it or leave it, which is just mad, isn't it?
Well, so one of the things I learned in Evolve, back to Evolve again, was that you have to increase your prices. Because if you don't increase your prices, you're going backwards. You're actually decreasing your prices because
of inflation,
etc.
How do you do that though without offending?
Well, I think for many years we didn't do anything. We didn't increase prices. So I would say we've only become confident and comfortable with doing price increases in recent years, and we've had to do them because the cost of labor is shot up. Okay, technical guys are very expensive. So good people are expensive. And then that translates back to how we can bill our clients. So what we've done, we just took a view on it, and then every year we do a price review. We look at consumer price index and stuff like that. We usually do a CPI-related increase every year. We're pretty much on the button the 1st of January every year now. Now, if you've just joined us as a client in the recent months, we'll skip that and we'll leave you for a year and a bit. But that's normally how we do it. Yeah. Okay. And then we got vendors, like had an email in from our gas supplier today with, again, putting up prices, and we had another vendor putting up prices only by 10%. And so you're getting these consistently in every day of the week. So everybody from the delivery guy to your hardware, IT equipment providers and software providers, all prices are going up. And then for a long time we just ate that, but we can't do that anymore. Yeah.
But I suppose your values are increasing as well in terms of the value you're providing. So it's not like it's just like obviously your cost is going up and you shouldn't have to bear it all, but you're providing more value for that as well.
100%. Yeah. I think again, we're very poor at feeding back to customers about all the
But
improvements.
just small businesses selling to other small businesses, it's just a much harder conversation. Like I'm with Air for all our business mobiles and stuff like that, and I get that email every April. Or this actually, I got it this week for next month. It's going up. It's going up by another 25%.
Ouch.
You know, so like, but they do it every year, and then I'll call up and I'll be like, "Now, come on." But like from a small business to a small business, it's generally a bit more nuanced, isn't it?
It is, and like we did get some pushback, and I met with those owners and we explained why, and we've in fact what we've done is we've probably increased our business with them because we've gone out and had a conversation and said, right, okay, you know, the package you're on, you've been on with us for 15 years. We need to actually reboot that now and put you on this solution or this package, whatever it might be, because you recognize you need this, and this, and let's move over here. So it's about communication. It's about talking to people. And look, price increases are inevitable.
Yeah, part of life.
Part of life.
One last question. What advice would you give a business owner of an SME now in terms of planning?
Start planning.
Call Ken.
Start planning. What do you mean in general, or do you mean in technology?
Just in terms of technology.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
knowing that what people are doing with their own machines, where they're downloading their own AI and everything, what can they get on top of it? Because the day job always takes over.
Well, I think, look, you've probably got a relationship with an IT guy or an IT company. Get them in, have a chat with them, see where they are at first.
Okay.
See if that's something that they're talking to you about. Are they training their own people? Are they having conversations? You know, have they started conversations with you about cyber and about AI? If they haven't, it could mean that they're slightly behind the 8 ball. Is that the expression?
I think so.
Yeah. So bring them in, have a conversation with them, see what they can do for you. If you're comfortable with that, great, work ahead. But start planning. Start doing small things.
Just start.
Just start. A journey of 1,000 miles and all that. And how you eat an elephant. You have to start at some point. And it's coming. And I think the worst thing you could do is ignore it and do nothing, because your competitor will do it and they'll eat your lunch. Yeah, absolutely.
Scary thought.
It is, yeah. And it's moving so fast.
Ken, thanks very much for coming in. Where can people find you if they want to connect with you?
So Ken at landmark.ie is my email address, and landmark.ie is the website if you want to have a look at the website.
Okay, brilliant. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Cheers.